We're going to get a third series, we think, of her cookery show.
Which is baffling.
Have invested so much in her as a kind of future product for them. And we've got Ted Sarandos, we believe, and I'm not sure if it's a direct quote, but they believe that Meghan is a superstar. And we've had previously people calling her a grifter. Which do you think is right?
I think Netflix are at the point where they thought if back in 2020, which is when I think they offered them the deal, they just found a room and put a bunch of cash in it and set it on fire, that would have been a better use of their money. I don't think they've got any value for money with this couple, which is fine. I don't blame them. It was obviously a business risk taking them on, but I think a year or two...
Harry and Meghan, the series.
Yeah, exactly. I think 2 years into it, they realised they'd sunk money into the world's most boring couple that needed like a lifetime supply of money to pay for their security. I think that's what it boiled down to. And Harry actually said that. He said, you know, I was offered this and I needed to pay for my family's security.
But that's Harry. Meghan is who they're investing in. It's Meghan that
well, but there's nothing there. She's very, like, again, I'm not saying this to be horrible. She is not an entertainer or an entertaining person.
This was part of a recent panel discussion where Meghan Markle's brand new image as a working mom and entrepreneur came under fire. We're breaking down what was said, why it's controversial, and whether the criticism holds any weight. So here's the setup. On June 2nd, The Sun published a panel featuring royal editor Matt Wilkinson, broadcaster Esther Krakow, and royal reporter Bronte Coy. They were discussing Meghan's recent rebranding, specifically her return to the public scene with a new podcast and her lifestyle brand As Ever. But it wasn't her business moves that stirred them up. It was her self-description as a working mom. Esther Krakow came in hot, saying, "It's so grating when she whines. You've got a nanny. You're not a working mom in the way most of us understand it."
It's going to be vocal fry and like, oh my God, the newspaper. It's very clear that she is not box office in terms of entertainment quality. But that's okay.
I was going to say, look, if you're going to take a step back, right, it's no surprise that...
That's Harry. Meghan is who they're investing in. It's Meghan that
well, but there's nothing there. She's very, like, again, I'm not saying this to be horrible. She is not an entertainer or an entertaining person. There's not much personality there. I never learn anything from her. I love lifestyle shows. I watch them every day. I don't learn anything. I didn't learn anything from hers. And she's just not entertaining. She's not a fun person to be around. You don't think this is the person I want to go to the pub with to have a pint with, because it's just like, it's going to be vocal fry and like, oh my God, the newspaper. It's very clear that she is not box office in terms of entertainment quality. But that's okay.
Let's break that down. What actually defines a working mom in 2025? For some, it means juggling 2 jobs, raising kids, managing bills, often without help. Others might say it's anyone who balances parenting with a professional pursuit. So technically, Meghan does work. She's producing content, managing a brand, likely overseeing a small team. But, and it's a big but, does that qualify her as relatable when she speaks about the struggles of working motherhood? That's the real friction here. Meghan Markle lives in a multi-million-dollar estate in Montecito. She has access to staff, nannies, stylists, PR reps.
I was going to say, look, if you're going to take a step back, right, it's no surprise that she is, I think, at her most unpopular point at the moment in England. So it's not a surprise still that, you know, a lot of people here didn't take to her the product that she's been putting out. But it's not just that. When we're speaking of the possible third season, it's not just that. It's the fact that, you know, major Hollywood industry publications like The Hollywood Reporter and Variety, I mean, they were the ones writing the negative reviews about Meghan, where traditionally, you know, you would think that they would probably be a little bit more favourable. And so that's what I'm saying. When you take that step back, it appears to be across the board. They weren't particularly well received. The show wasn't particularly well received, which is why I was surprised to hear about season 3. Again, not because, you know, a lot of the people that, you know, she's a very polarising figure, obviously, but the fact that it was so critically slammed made it very surprising that they would invest beyond season 2, which I believe had already been filmed.
Well, Netflix, they are keen on her. They are investigating. I think it goes deeper. Their relationship goes deeper than we kind of really imagine. As ever, with the brand, I think we're now told that they're not going to restock.
Yeah.
Oh, this is from the podcast.
Yes, that was
a
a
topic on the podcast where
yeah.
she mentioned that, I might not restock this year.
She might go into a rebrand and kind of veer into fashion, for example. As Ever isn't just going to be...
This just plays as a whole thing. There's just, where's the direction? Where are they going? They're just throwing mud at a wall and hoping something
it's
sticks.
low risk. She's literally losing nothing. This is... When I tell you this is the same strategy that every woman with a very wealthy husband who's just pumping enough into her business to keep her happy, this is exactly what's happening. when Sue was saying, oh, they had an initial launch and they did really well because they sold out. Well, how many units did you actually sell? She could have sold 50 jars, and if it's sold out, it's sold out. And that's a success in her book. We don't know anything. We don't know the metrics of this business. And it's clearly in its infancy. It's still finding its feet and all of that. She doesn't really know what she's doing. Again, which is fine because you can hire people that do. But to go from selling jam and shortbread and all of that, which is reportedly sold out, to not restocking and then kind of having this haphazard view of what you're going to do next and potentially go into fashion, she doesn't know what she's doing. It's just a hobby. But that's fine because she's rich.
Resources most working parents can only dream of. When she shares parenting woes or burnout stories, it doesn't always land with the average viewer. It can come off as performative, even if the emotions behind it are real. That's what the Sun panel was really digging at. Not that she doesn't work, but that her struggles feel disconnected from reality. But let's be fair, is this just another media pile-on of Meghan Markle? She's been under intense scrutiny since joining the royal family, often in ways that feel disproportionate or even biased. So the question is, are critiques like this valid social commentary, or just another example of the British press nitpicking everything she says? There's space for nuance. It's possible to acknowledge Meghan's work while also critiquing how she frames her public narrative. So, now I want to hear from you. Do you think Meghan deserves the working mom title? Or is it tone-deaf for someone with her level of privilege to claim that label without caveats?
What names would you give to the Wales' 4 new puppies?
1, 2, 3, and 4.
You're not a big fan of
Absolutely.
dogs?
No, I just can't be bothered with names. Because if I give you, like, exotic names, then I have to remember it.
Fine.
But also, as we said, I don't know if they're keeping them or not. You've got to be really careful not to start naming the pets if you're not going to keep them, because the kids will get very attached. They should give them little titles, though, like, Earl, Dukey, things like that, like cute stuff.
Marquette.
Yeah, get a bit, have a bit of fun with that. But again, unless they're keeping them, don't name them.
Well, if they keep them, in theory, you have one for Charlotte, one for George, one for Louis, but then you've got the spare.
We know what happens to
Just call it
spares.
Harry. Just have to call it Harry.
Oh my gosh, absolutely amazing.
Right, thanks so much, guys. That was awesome.
And broader than that, is the media being fair and holding public figures accountable for how they present themselves? Or is it more of the same royal obsession? If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe for more thoughtful takes, and don't forget to turn on notifications, especially if you want more coverage on media, celebrity narratives, and the royal family's ongoing PR war. Thanks for watching, and remember, not all working mom labels are created equal.